All right, so last time we learned about what makes up an atom. When we're talking about elements, hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, that kind of thing, what matters is the number of protons. So what we say is that elements are defined by the number of protons. So for example, let's say you had 1 proton, 0 neutrons, and then 1 electron. You are hydrogen, because hydrogen has 1 proton. If you had 1 proton, 999 neutrons, and 999 electrons, you are still hydrogen, because the identity of an element is determined by the number of protons. Note that this example is extreme and not realistic. There's no way you could get that many neutrons and electrons in here. But again, just to emphasize the fact that when you have 1 protons, you're hydrogen. If you go up to 2 protons, you instantly become helium. Again, it doesn't matter how many neutrons, it doesn't matter how many electrons. All that matters is your number of protons. Let's move this down for a second. And so we give that a special term. We call this Z. It's the symbol capital Z. It's called the atomic number. And it's just the number of protons you have in an atom. Number of protons. And so what we use to identify what an element is, or to look at elements, we use the periodic table. And we're going to read this like a book. And so think about the way you read a book. You read a book from left to right, line by line. So let's take a look at our periodic table. This is just one version of it. There's a million different versions of the periodic table. In this case, the atomic number is towards the top left. So we can see that number 1 right there. That's our Z, right? And if you have 1 proton, you're helium, or hydrogen, you're hydrogen. And then when we go from left all the way to the right here, we get 2 protons, now you're helium. Then the next line, 3, you're lithium, 4 protons, you're beryllium, 5 protons, your boron, 6, your carbon, 7, your nitrogen, 8, your oxygen, 9, your fluorine, 10, your neon, and so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of practice to make sure that we understand this. So if you have 37 protons, what element are you? If you have 57 protons, what element are you? And then if you have 6 protons, what element are you? So let's check it out, right? We've got 37 right here. So what we do is we go to our periodic table and then we find the 37th element, or we just look at, in this case, the top left. 37 is RB. So we are RB, which is rubidium. Next up, if we have 57 protons, we go to the 57th element, which in this case, we look at our periodic table, we see go from 56 all the way to 72. So note something a little bit weird here. This 57 through 71 are actually located down here. Just a little quirk of the periodic table. We'll learn a little bit more about that quirk later on. But if we go down to 57, we see that we are La, or lanthanum. And then finally, if we have 6 protons, what are we? Well, we just go to the 6th element, or we just look at the top left, number 6, that is carbon, which is the best element. You may have heard the term that we are carbon-based life forms. So basically, you are mostly made out of carbon, or basically all the cool stuff in you is mostly carbon. You're actually mostly water, but all the stuff that does the action is mostly carbon. So again, this is all just about practice. So make sure that you're doing the work-alongs and make sure that you know what you're doing.